I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
All right. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, this is not going to take long. We had originally put up a tag saying that there was no show tonight. I know that you guys are all heartbroken because you have to decide between the President of the United States and Kristopher Bilbrey. And we won't keep you here long so you can get back to watching whatever's going on. Generally, we would be covering the State of the Union, and we would be commenting here and talking about what's true and what's not true, and those things. But I'll be honest, I've just been in the middle of the move. I've been dealing with Catherine's campaign today. I've still got a little bit to wrap up there, and I've just had the world's worst sinus headache, sinus issues. It's kind of going around. I think Kate had it last week. I've got it this week. I always have sinus issues. So there was originally not supposed to be a live broadcast of ours this evening. But something got brought to my attention just a few short minutes ago, honestly. And I felt like I needed to bring this forward, explain the situation, and then once I speak on this situation, I won't talk about this situation again until there is some closure to it, and we'll do that. So let me walk you along here, kind of what's going on. This is not a regular show. This is going to be a quick little statement, and then we'll wrap up and let everybody get back to their evening. So this is going to be a statement concerning the Henry County candidate for sheriff, Randy Howard. And if you're watching this live, we're currently broadcasting this live at about 9:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. At like I said, 9:12 p.m. And I called Kate right as we went live, and I told Kate a little snippet of something that I'm not going to mention here live, but I want Kate to mark that down in your brain, write it down on a sheet of paper, do something. I'm going to keep it here in my notes, because there's going to come a point where in the future I ask you to come forward and tell me if I was right or wrong. And it probably won't be today. It'll be some point later in the future, but we will have some proof of what I'm saying here right now. So I just want to get this statement out, and then we'll go back. So for the last couple of weeks, we have been entertaining a fool who is running for a public office in Henry County. And the public office that he's running for is Henry County Sheriff. And the thing is, that office is already held by just a complete imbecile. So we are not looking to put one idiot into an office replacing another idiot. That wouldn't make any sense. So there are a whole plethora of other candidates that we could entertain looking into, and that the people of Henry County should seriously look into. That being said, I want to be very clear, and I've talked about this in the past, but I'm going to just lay it all out on the line here and explain every bit of it, and then explain what's going on tonight. So when I started looking into Henry County, I first started looking into what was going on with the commissioners, the old commissioners, two commissioners elections ago. So it would have been Ed Tarantino, Ed Llanos, and who's the third commissioner? Tarantino, Llanos, and I can't remember who the third one was. It's I've slept since then. Anyways, it was right after the windmill debacle. And so I was looking into that. Bobby was in the audience. She hadn't been elected at that point. Butch, no, it wasn't Butch. It wasn't Butch. I can't recall who it was. There are people that would know. Oh, it was Kronk. It was Kronk, Llanos, and how could I ever forget? I guess I've really slept since then. It was Llanos, Kronk, and Tarantino were the three commissioners. Duh. See how long it's been. So I started looking into that. And then at some point, something happened in Knightstown where an individual was walking along the road, and the police came up to him. Henry County Sheriff's Department came up to him, and there was some interaction with him, and he got like kind of tased in the face while he was handcuffed, sitting in a cop car. And there were people that were wanting me to look at this, and we showed the video live to everybody. And I was contacted shortly after that video by Randy Howard. Did not know Randy Howard. I had told by people, when I told people that he had reached out to me, people from all walks of life contacted me and said, look, avoid that guy. He is a nut job. He's a wannabe. He's not somebody that you want to get intermixed with. And I always take that with a grain of salt anytime somebody says that, because people say things about me. They don't like what I say. So I always like to make my own determination about someone. And Randy had contacted me and told me that he wanted me to, he had information for me, and that he had some good information, and wanted me to meet with him. And I met with him a couple of times. We talked on the phone a couple of times, and I quickly learned that Randy was a blowhard. Randy was somebody that liked to say, hey, I've got good information and I can't release it to you yet, but I am the one that knows it, and it's big. It's really big. And when you hear this, it's going to knock your socks off. But he would never publish the content. He would never release the content, and he would never come off of the content. So I quickly realized every time Randy called, he had some big scoop, some big story, but it never went anywhere, and it never mattered to anything. It just was what it was. It was Randy saying that he knew something. And there's a lot of people that I come into contact with that. Hell, not only did he not have the receipts, he didn't even have the content. He said he had content, but there was just no content there. It's like me saying something really cool's on TV right now, but I'm not going to let you turn the TV on and see what it is. And I quickly learned that Randy was one of those people that just wanted to make others feel as if I'm in the know. I know something that you don't. And I quickly learned that he was enamored with the people, all of you. He's not really jealous of me. He's like jealous of you all's attention. So it's got nothing to do with me. Anybody could be in this seat, but he liked the fact that people tune in and listen, and like I've got some kind of special power. Little does he know, I'm nobody. You guys are the powerful ones. Because of the way I do what I do, and because of my experience and my time involved in politics, that alone, it's not like I'm special. It's just I've been involved for so long that people tell me things that turn out to be true, that I bring it forward, and I tend to be right. Okay? Anybody could do this with time, effort, hard work, and a little bit of there is a little bit of that special that maybe you have, maybe you don't. I don't know. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And so Randy quickly started trying to do what we do here. He created a page, Henry County, Indiana, and there are a good number of people on there. And Randy gets on there and he talks about things that are all over the wall, all over. He doesn't stick with national politics. He doesn't stick with local politics. But the thing is, and people say, well, that's a good balance of everything, but it truly isn't. He's all over the place. He considers himself a conservative Republican, but he says things that are outside of the conservative Republican sphere. And it's just, it's weird. If you look and you really use discernment, you can tell what is going on. It's not hard to tell what's happening with Randy. And so quickly thereafter, I'll tell you the thing that really set me off with Randy. Randy was having this interview that he had cooked up with a reporter. There was an event going on. I think it was tied to the use of force issue in Knightstown. And Randy had set up this event, and he wanted me to come down. And he told the whole thing. This is before I realized how much of a nut job he was. He wanted me to come down and be a part of this because of my experience, because I had released the information on the show. I was the first person to release the information out to like the large masses, and he'd wanted me to be part of this. Well, then when I got down there, what I quickly realized was, first of all, and now it's starting to make sense because of other things that I'm hearing, Randy wanted to meet me at the police station. Well, I got to the police station and I didn't see anyone else's vehicles. I didn't see anyone else around. And I quickly realized Randy's come walking through like another part of town into the parking lot. I'm like, well, where did you come from? He's like, oh, I parked my truck around the way. And I was like, oh, okay. And we met the reporter and her cameraman there at the police station, and they wanted to go elsewhere to do the interview. They went and looked to see if they could knock on the police department. They couldn't find anybody. It was colder outside, and we went to this restaurant to go and have this interview. And I started to get in my truck and leave. Okay. And Randy asked me if I could just take him to where we were going. And I was like, well, no, I don't want to do that, because then when we were done from that place, I was just going to leave and come home. But what that would have made me need to do is I would have had to take Randy to where we were going. I would have then had to have driven him back to Knightstown and then have to head home from Knightstown. That made no sense. And I was like, well, why don't you just drive and then you can head home from there? And he was really strange about driving. Well, what I noticed was he said, well, can you at least take me to my truck? And I said, yes. And he got in my car and he had me drive him around to a truck that was parked like 4 blocks away. And I'm thinking at the time, why wouldn't you have just parked in the police department parking lot? Now I'm hearing stories that lead me to understand why he probably didn't pull up into the police department parking lot, but I'll leave that where that is, okay? I'm just saying it didn't make sense at the time, and from things I'm hearing now, it kind of makes sense. So I take him to his truck, and we get to this place, and when he meets me there, he tells me that he wants me to take my equipment in to record him being recorded. He doesn't want me to go in and be a part of this. He wants me to go in and to record him being recorded by the people. And I say to him, they're not going to want me to do that. Now, I say that because I've been in this world for quite some time, and I understand how that works. So he's like, no, she's cool with it. I ask her, and she's cool with it. And I thought, no, he didn't do it. And I kick myself for doing this. But it's better to have the story, I guess, now. So we get out. I take my equipment in. They're setting their equipment up, and they're getting ready to record him. I'm setting my equipment up. And she looks at me, and she says, hey, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm just getting ready to record what he said. And she said, well, we would prefer it if we could record our piece with him, and then you can record a piece with him, but we don't want to be recording him. Now, if I would have been a hard ass, I would have been like, well, we're in public. I don't care what you want, but I'm not trying to piss off my fellow comrades. Now, I'm not a journalist, but I work with these people and I communicate with them. So I'm not trying to piss them off. So I said, sure, no problem to me. And I look at Randy and I said, what did I tell you? I packed my shit up and I left. Yeah, that's it. I didn't need to record him later. He had nothing that I needed to hear. He got on and he sings the song that Randy normally sings. I've taught police officers and this and this and that and then all this. And really it is a past that he has weaved and created himself, where there's very, very little truth to what's actually being said, and a lot of great big holes in the story that makes up his past, which honestly, if you think about it, is really sad. It is really, really sad. I mean, it's like we're dealing with someone that truly just doesn't know better or something like that. I'm to give the benefit of the doubt. And so it's kind of a sad thing that, you don't get a rest on who you actually are. You have to make things up to be bigger and better and badder. You know what I mean? That's kind of what the situation is. So when I drove away from that location and I got back to where I was, I did one thing. I changed Randy in my phone from Randy Howard to do not answer. Okay. And I went through and I deleted all of my interactions with him on social media. And that was that. Okay. Well, quickly thereafter, I realized that he had blocked me from his Henry County, Indiana page, because I wouldn't answer his phone calls, because I didn't talk about him getting interviewed. He wanted to be the hero of the story. You get it? You understand? That's kind of, he's got like a hero worship type of mentality. That's all that this is about. This isn't about service to the public, because if it were, he would be a person that would run for county council or Knightstown town council, but that's not big or bad or glamorous in his eyes. He wants to be the sheriff. You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing. So I just quickly realized that this dude was a loser and there was no point in further interactions. He had nothing I needed. And I went on with life. it was a whole big long thing. The guy in Knightstown, that's just a very piece of the story. I don't even recall what happened. He had dealt with, I think he had a lawyer, and that thing kind of wrapped up the way that it was supposed to wrap up. That was a couple police chiefs ago, and it is what it is. And I went on with life, and honestly, I never thought of the name Randy Howard again. What meant nothing to me. I didn't think anything of him. I didn't need his page. Anything that's on his page is information that I've had for weeks before, and it just was what it was. And then this guy decided to run for Henry County Sheriff. And unfortunately, that action puts him back into my area of focus a little bit. Now, it's not the same thing as John Sproles, which, love it or not, he is currently the sheriff and he's running for re-election, so we have to pay attention to him. He's not the same as Jason Williams or Nicholson or what all the other people, Landon Dean, Backover, all of those people. However right or wrong, or people like them or don't like them, he is on a different tier than they are. Now, he could easily be elected. Idiots could elect him. I don't think that's going to happen. I certainly don't think that's going to happen. But I do have to pay a little bit of attention to him. And, it was what it was. Well, quickly thereafter, he started texting me and Facebook messaging me, to which I just ignored them. I ignored him. And ignoring him, and we've talked about this before, he then started messaging Kate. And he started getting a hold of Kate and really wanted to be on the show, really wanted to be a part of the show, wanted to be highlighted, wanted to be talked about as a candidate because it gave him a larger platform than what he could ever dream in his wildest mind. And finally, I responded to him one day and said, look, if you want to be considered, maybe you could start out by unblocking me, because that's an issue I had with John Sproles, and that's not a good way to start out. And he does the thing that he has done in the past. Oh, you're not blocked. And I'm like, look, dude, send me a link and I'll show you what happens. And he did, and I showed him I was blocked. Well, lo and behold, he comes back and he says, oh, well, one of the Orrs, Mark Orr, Mike Orr, whatever, all the couple of brothers that don't ever leave the house or whatever, they just always stay hidden in the house. Well, he was like, one of those guys had you blocked, and they're like 3 peas or 2 peas in a pod. Whatever the deal is, they're very, very close they're friends with each other, whatever. So I was like, okay, well, I quickly became back into the group. Didn't mean I'm going to have him on. I would interview him or talk to him the same that I would any other candidate, but I've never given him, he's never been on the same category as anyone else running because he's a joke. And then he got into a 6-hour-long pissing match with the sheriff. And myself and lots of other people looked at it and said, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous on John Sproles' behalf. It's ridiculous on Randy's behalf. And that night is when I come up with the idea or the thought that these are two of the same people. They're two sides of the same coin. Okay? They're nobodies. They're idiots. They do the same things. They act the same way. It's all about ego. It's all about, a streak of narcissism. It's all about how they appear to the people and this hero type of, ideology that they have. Like, we're going to be the big bad guy and everyone's going to look up to us and think that we're special and that they are holier than thou. And this whole big, long thing. They also have very, very, very tiny, tiny egos that they want to have, this big thing, but they can't help it when somebody talks about them. They can't help it if somebody asks them hard questions. They don't have answers for people. They want to block people that disagree with them in even the slightest way possible. And so I posted and said, and I talked about it on the show, and I said, look, people don't want Sproles because of how he behaves, and Randy behaves the exact same way. So no one wants either of these people. No one would get rid of Sproles and put Randy in that position. It's the same damn thing. So I said, you know, they both act like little girls, and it's ridiculous. And somebody had said that Randy had posted something else about the sheriff, and I started the next day to get on the page and look at what he had posted about the sheriff. But lo and behold, boom bang pow, I'm blocked again. And I text Randy and I say, hey, certainly you guys didn't block me again, right? And he says something to the effect of, yes, I blocked you because I didn't like your comments that you made last night. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to text him anymore. I'm just going to call him and get to the bottom of this. So I called him and I recorded our conversation, and you guys can go and listen to that. Now, I want to be very clear. I didn't call somebody else pretending to be Randy Howard. I called the Randy Howard. The number I used was the number that comes up in my phone that says, do not answer. It was Randy Howard. You can clearly hear it's his dumbass voice. Anybody that knows the man Randy Howard knows that's Randy Howard's voice. It's not AI. And our phone records will prove that I called Randy Howard from my phone, and it was his phone that answered, and we were on the phone for 5 or 6 minutes having a discussion back and forth, and then he eventually hung up, and that was the end of the phone call, and that was it, and that was that call history. I called him on Thursday. January 29th. And listen, stay here, Aaron, stay here. This dude's running for sheriff. He has no background, no history of sheriff. Stand here. The Henry County Sheriff's Department is in a lot of hot water right now. We have a psychopath that's currently running it. He just does crazy things. He shoots inmates that are in jail, sends them to the hospital. He keeps other inmates in there that then end up being on life support after they've been beaten by the jail folks, the COs. And so it's a madhouse. Well, now this guy is currently running to take his place, and he's just as loony. So I contacted him on January 29th. And we talked for 12 minutes and 31 seconds. And it's crazy talk that anybody would ever believe that this is not Randy. Anybody in Henry County that has ever had interactions with Randy Howard will absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, be able to say, yep, that's Randy Howard's voice. He has a very distinctive voice. He doesn't talk like a lot of other people. He has a very, very distinctive voice. Matter of fact, I'll give you a little taste of it right here. I think it's Kristopher Bilbrey.
Hi there. How are you?
All right. Yeah, I didn't rail you. I said as a candidate, there were a lot of issues that you would still have to show before I could say that I would ever support you. And there's a lot of issues that are going on that I have issue with. As a candidate, you're going to have to deal with that. And if you're elected, any time that I or anyone else would question you and you think that you're going to run to Facebook and block people, those are issues that I see that I have a problem with. The fact that you would block me from social media because I question you as a candidate is an issue that I have a problem with. It looks very childish. It doesn't put you in a very good light. And it's a problem I've already taken Sproles to court and won on. So if you're doing that as a candidate, I don't understand. I mean, walk me through the mindset there.
Well, I don't mind some of the stuff you said was fine from what I understand. That when you made reference to to 13-year-old kids or whatever. That was just like insulting. And
I didn't say anything about. Yeah, listen. When you and the sheriff spend 7 hours going back and forth, and I'm not the only person that sees that, that doesn't look like leadership. It looks ridiculous on Sproul's behalf, and it looked ridiculous on your behalf.
I understand, but if you look at my responses, I once never called him a name.
I didn't say. Okay, so that's clearly Randy Howard. There's nobody in their right mind that would say that that's not Randy Howard. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. So that's that. Okay. Then after that, and from that point forward, that was, when did I put that out? That phone call was on the 29th of January. Yeah, okay, so then that released on the 29th of January. Basically, from that point forward, he's been in the chat. Or rather, let me say it like this. Since the 29th of January, a person going by the name Randy Howard 89 has been in the chat. Now, what he doesn't seem to understand or know or believe or have a grasp of is, during the times he's been in the chat, there have been times that he has referenced things that he has said or that we've spoken of on a phone call in the past or something. It's not something that Alva could say using, the name Randy Howard. It's not something that Rachel could say using the name Randy Howard. I know that people can make different names in here, but there's only so much that people could say that would be like that. There's things that only Randy would know. Okay, that's fair. It makes sense. Whatever. So when he would pop in here, I would treat him like the joke that he is. I think that, listen, this is not slander. Okay, it's not defamation. It's not anything that I, Kristopher Bilbrey, have the opinion that Randy Howard is a joke. As a human being, he is laughable to me. Okay? I cannot. No one in their right mind would pretend to be Randy Howard. Dude, I love you. That's hilarious. Okay, that is fair. But I have considered Randy to be a joke, and I talk to him and treat him as such. I have picked and prodded because he's a candidate. He's not just a private citizen out here minding his business. If I just started going crazy on Stumblefoot, there's a lot that I can say having a First Amendment right and have the ability to say. But then there are things that could cross the line, or he could be like, look, I want you to stop. And as a private entity, I really wouldn't have much room to say certain things because he's a private person. Okay? Randy is not that. The minute that he filed and signed the paperwork and filed to be a candidate running for sheriff of Henry County, his ability to claim himself a private person ended. Okay? Give me just 1 second here, and I will show you. I'm going to have to find it. I think they have it in alphabetical. Nope, they don't. So let's see. Do they have it by... let's see. Well, anyways, whether I find this or not, I will tell you that they the minute that he and or anyone else filed to run for office, they then become an elevated person. They put themselves in the spotlight for folks to comment on, for people to have opinion about, and for people to say, hey, I have questions about this person. I want to ask questions about this person. I have opinions of this people, of this individual. Yeah, right here. Randy Howard. The date was January 8th, 2026. Here is his can 2, where Mr. Howard put forward his declaration of candidacy for primary nomination. Randy Howard ran as a Republican for sheriff of Henry County, Indiana. And that's what he did. He put that out there. And so the minute that he did that, he no longer enjoyed the same legal standings that, say, a private person would. He's now a candidate for office. And myself, a political commentator, any other political commentators, or anyone in the news media, and any private citizen in Henry County and or beyond can now have an opinion of and comment and question the behavior, the actions, the intent of Mr. Randy Howard. And so it's unfortunate. Maybe he didn't realize that. Maybe in Randy's limited understanding of what all of these things do, and maybe with the limited understanding of what all of this is, maybe he didn't know that. Okay, I don't know, but just to break it to Randy, you did. So I've treated him as such. I've treated him as a candidate, although I consider him to be a joke and not on the level of an actual candidate. He wants to be treated as a candidate, and so he has gotten that treatment. Okay, absolutely. Well, a person under the name Randy Howard 89 has been appearing in this comment on YouTube. Now, mind you, it's been on YouTube. He's not been on Facebook. Facebook is a little bit harder to deal with as far as getting the information behind who an account is. Even when issuing subpoenas, Facebook is hard to deal with. They will fight things a little bit harder. YouTube, not so much. YouTube, with one subpoena, they don't fight it. Oh, we got a subpoena? All right, we'll issue who this is. So last night, Randy came on, and because Randy is not capable of making any independent thought that comes from within his own self based on information that he has looked up or dug into or researched, he's just not capable of that. If you've noticed, anytime he's tried turning jokes around, they've all been jokes that I've said. Like last night, he's called me a window licker. How many times is it that I have called him that? Okay. And so, well, I don't live in Henry County. I don't live in Henry County, so I couldn't run for sheriff of Henry County. So that would not be, unfortunately, that can't happen. Anyways, I am running as a delegate in Delaware County right now. As we speak, I'm currently running as a delegate where I live in Delaware County. But that's that. Okay, so the other issue is last night, Randy decided to come into the chat parroting some statements that the current Henry County sheriff has stated. And Yeah, fortunately, I can't run because we would clean some shit up. I'm telling you. The sheriff is a Bilbrey. That's what they'd say. I'd take my... Never mind. Blazing Saddles. Whatever. Anyways. So that is true, Shane. Shane is the mayor of Knightstown. That is 110% factual. And that is a permanent lifetime position. So no one else can take that away from him. It is what it is. So Randy came in here making some statements, and they weren't Randy's statements. This is the craziest thing. They weren't Randy's statements. Randy saw the sheriff make them. His opponent, I've never seen anybody else be running a campaign against a person and say, wait a minute, I ought to use those words. I ought to use my opponent's words. Randy's the first candidate ever to think that it's a good idea to use the words of the incumbent that he's running against. That just shows you how little this guy knows. So he parrots some statements that the sheriff had made. And these statements that the sheriff had made were libelous. They were slanderous. Plagiarism is a crime. I'm going to expel him from school. They were slanderous, libelous. And I know they were libel because they were written, but the sheriff has spoken them before too. So they're slanderous as well. And they amount to defamation of character. And I have put the sheriff on notice of defamation of character, and the fact that he is currently in a lawsuit for defamation of character. Okay. I have put him on notice that, hey, you better watch it here, bud. And that's that. I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear. I was arrested for speaking in a meeting in Winchester. It was an unlawful and unjust arrest, and the prosecutor's office never filed criminal charges. As a matter of fact, the prosecutor's office came out and stated that the arrest was unlawful and unjust, and therefore we filed a First Amendment rights federal lawsuit there, and I was victorious. Okay. I did not want that lawsuit. I've never filed a lawsuit before that period. And I, at that point, thought, okay, I'll never be in another lawsuit. There was a situation here in Muncie, which wrapped up, and it wrapped up in a way that was okay in my mind. And then there was the issue with John Sproles. I'm not a sue-happy person, but I'm not, as a media member, as a political commentator, I am not going to allow as a citizen, I'm not going to allow my rights to be violated. I'm also not going to allow someone to just openly slander or slander my character. I'm not going to allow someone to commit libel or to commit defamation of character. And all one must do is look to Abdul Hakim Shabazz in the last couple of years to see what he's done with Gabe Whitley to find out that even though I too I appreciate that, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Now, I live in Delaware County. Just cover local, state, and national politics, and whatever comes to mind. But I too am not just like a private citizen, and I've had plenty of attorneys tell me this, and this is why I don't care what people say about me. 99% of the time, I have elevated myself out of the realm of just private citizen because I am considered a political commentator, a member under the broader umbrella, a member of media. And so it's not like I can, anytime somebody just says, "Oh, Bilbrey, you're fat, you're ugly, you're a dummy head," I just have to deal with it. Okay. And it is what it is, and I'm fine with that. And I listened to that. Oh my God. So Randy apparently doesn't realize. We'll come back to that in just a moment. What did I tell you? Wait, I'm not ready to say it yet. We're still going to keep that hidden. So, I put Randy on notice last night that his statements that Randy made in these comments last night were slanderous, and that he would, if he did not retract the statements, if he did not remove the statements, and if he did not cease and desist immediately, that it would be dealt with legally. And he continued to push and to act and to do his ignorance, but it was what it was. So then he just disappeared. Okay. Then, just a little while ago, I was made aware of this post. Public statement by Randy Howard. Now, this is on Randy Howard's Facebook page. I have no way to know that this is Randy Howard, other than this is the post that Randy Howard claims to make from. So I will assume, like everything else, that this is Randy Howard. Randy Howard says, public statement at everyone. Recently, after and this is hilarious. So let's take this line and word by word. Recently, after I distance, like not distanced, but after I distanced myself from Kristopher Bilbrey, host of Political Spotlight. First of all, Randy has never distanced himself from me. Randy would call and was like the little dog that would run around. What are we going to do today, George? What are we going to do today? What are we going to do today? And I had to put him in my phone as do not answer, and I had to bow out from that nonsense. And we can absolutely show 1000%, because of the power of screenshots, that Randy Howard would reach out to myself and I would not answer him. Okay. So from October of 2024, let's just go down and look at this. Okay. There's one answer. Okay. I actually posted over here long ago that he had me blocked. Okay. Oops. Crap. Wrong hand. Okay. Telling him he's got me blocked. And so, that's nonsensical. Got me blocked. So here he is. All right. Look at how many posts he sends me that I do not interact with. Post after post after post. And this goes on for long stretches of time. We go on from 2024, 2025, January of 2025 into December of 2025. And I am not interacting with him. Finally, I interact with him and said, it would be easier to interact and get behind you if you unblocked me from your Henry County, Indiana Facebook page. I thought you were unblocked a long time ago. Dang, I'm sorry. And so then just more and more of this, okay? And I'm telling him, well, I can't get on there. I don't know what's going on. And I'm treating him like, and I've got screenshots of all of this. So it is what it is. So then he shares me some things, and then he tells me, he talks to me about the Sheriff's Brothers business card, and I tell him my thoughts about that. And then he continues to just text me, long crap. And then I say, there's no way you literally blocked me less than 2 days. That's insane. And so you can see that it's not been me reaching out to Randy. It's been Randy reaching out to me. Kate can also testify if and when needed that he's reached out to her. Let me ask you just this really quickly, pop you up here. Kate, have you ever reached out to Randy Howard in your life?
No.
You never, as yourself as a person or as a part of this program, reached out to Randy saying that we wanted to talk to him, I wanted to talk to him, anything like that?
No. He reached out to me wanting to come on the show, saying I was the brains of the operation.
You definitely are. That's fine.
Stroking the ego. I get that.
Yeah, right.
I said, that after all the filings are done, then Chris will figure out what he wants to do, kind of, being polite, but played it off.
Yeah.
And then I got a bunch of stuff about the card and stuff. I was like, well, it seems problematic, but whatever.
Sure. But you, as a person, never reached out to him saying, hey, we'd love to have you on.
Only on Tinder, like Rachel said.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I meant Grindr.
Grindr. I don't know where. That's hilarious. Thank you very much, Kate. I appreciate it. That's it. So we like to have fun here. Okay, so that's that. So going back to Randy's comment, just starting off with the first line. We can't even get through the first line. Recently, after I distanced myself from Kristopher Bilbrey, host of the Political Spotlight, period. This is interesting. This is his single thought. Recently, after I distanced myself from Kristopher Bilbrey, host of the Political Spotlight, end of thought. Recently what? Recently what, Randy? Oh, next thought. An individual using the name Randy Howard 89 appeared in his live chat making inflammatory comments. Making inflammatory comments about who, Randy? They weren't making inflammatory comments about Randy Howard. They were making inflammatory comments about me. They were making inflammatory comments about the voters of Henry County and the non-voters of Henry County that are in the chat. The Randy Howard 89 was 1000% being an absolute dick, a rude asshole, which lines up with the personality of Randy Howard. It's not like it's not hard to figure this stuff out. Okay. So he goes on to say that. He says, let me be clear. That account is not me. Okay. Randy Howard must have not ever listened to the show before where I have said, and this is not, I didn't make this up, I just use it a lot. The cover-up is worse than the crime. All right. Now, I'm not specifically saying a crime. It's a figure of speech. When you do something stupid, don't make it worse by trying to then pretend like it didn't happen or this. Just lean into it and stop. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Because let me be clear. After my attempts to explain to Randy Howard last night that what he was doing was defamation, slander, and libel, he stopped. And so after last night, I had no intention of moving forward because I told him to stop, to knock it off, and he did. Until he made this statement. And now he's gone a little bit further. And now I don't know what will happen, but we'll get there in a second. He says, let me be clear, that account is not me. I do not engage in name calling. Well, all you have to do is you go back and look at his things and his behavior, as far as the way that, because he wasn't, all he was saying was idiots and stuff. So it's not like name calling. He was being an idiot. Or harassment. He wasn't harassing. He was just being an idiot. Or making cartoons of any person to defame them. Okay, now I think he's talking about me when I made this cartoon. Now, this cartoon I will continue to show. And listen, if Randy wants to drop out of the race, which I think it's too late, I don't think he can anymore. But if he wants to stop running, to shut up, to sit down, the minute that he goes back to being a private citizen, I will never mention the name Randy Coward again. But until he's beat, or as long as he's in the race, he will always be discussed on this program if and when the time is right. He is a candidate running for public office. He is going to be mentioned. Yeah, shit, Skylar. Absolutely. With Randy Coward as the jail commander. Absolutely. And so he might not like this, but he might need to go back to as far back as our founding fathers to talk about satirical, political satire cartoons and things like that, because that has been a way of life in politics since the beginning of time. Okay. Hold on one second. It was in the contentious political race in 1800 when a political slur was used by journalist James Thompson Callender against U.S. President John Adams during the contentious 1800s election campaign. It was described Adams as being a blind, bald, crippled, toothless, hideous, hermaphroditical character. And, I've never said anything that bad about Howard, Coward, Randy, whatever you want to call him. I have never done that. So this has been going on since the beginning of this in our country. Okay, moving back to this. He says, following my decision to disengage, Mr. Bilbrey used my photographs. Hold on, stand by 1 second. Stand by real quick. Sorry about that. When I picked that phone up the last time, I hit my hand on a piece of a piece of the desk here that we've taken apart during this move, and I cut my finger, and I'm like bleeding like a stuck pig. I was trying to find a Band-Aid, which I think I have taken all over to the new house. So we are out of luck. I was trying not to bleed all over the rest of the studio in here. Sorry. Okay. He says, following my decision to disengage, Mr. Bilbrey used my photograph and broadcast portions of a recorded phone interaction across multiple social media platforms. Because he's confused, I will clear this up. Because we chose to disengage, Randy couldn't take it, and he wanted to be a part of it so bad. So he came in the comments as Randy Howard 89 and started acting like a fool. Because he's a candidate running for office, and because he did dumb shit, I decided to use his photograph and broadcast portions of a recorded phone interaction across multiple social media platforms. Because in the state of Indiana, it is a one-party consent state. And as dumb as Randy is, he should know that.
And the photos you used were all on his Facebook page. It was a public domain.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like matter of fact, I think they appeared in a newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like I snuck into his house to take these pictures of him. I broke no laws in doing. Look, I've been doing this for a long time. I know what we can do and what we can't do. I know what can be said. I know what's crossing the line. I know what's tickling the line. And I know what's crossing the line. You know, that's just...
No. It hasn't been scrubbed from YouTube.
Yeah, tell him.
It's been changed.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones, 67, who's been commenting tonight.
Yeah, right. So explain that. So basically, it hasn't been scrubbed.
No.
It has been... He changed it to... it looks like he might have deleted it. Looks like he might have deleted Jerry Jones.
Maybe, but not before I got screenshots.
That's what's so good about Kate.
Poor bugger. It's just so sad.
And also here's the thing.
I'm working on it, guys. I'm not very quick at this. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Here's the deal. It's not like he also seems to think that deleting this from Facebook or from YouTube rather will mean that it's not there. Okay, right here, Jerry Jones. How childish, Chris. I did laugh at what Sproul said, Chris, about you. So
okay, now here's the one that definitely lets us know that this is definitely the Randy Howard. Right there.
Yeah, and explain what that is from.
That's from last night.
That's from last night. So this last night was a comment that Randy Howard made in between Amber Bevins and Karen 8634. What he doesn't realize is if Kate and I are on here as the political spotlight, okay? The name, like, show them a name that you've commented under. Where's the comments you've made?
I'll make one right now.
Okay, comment right now.
Hello, this is Kate.
Okay, she's posting right now. Okay, so this is Kate's YouTube comment. Hello, this is Kate at the Political Spotlight. That's our name, the Political Spotlight. Okay, if Kate would go in and change this name, which we can't because it's our show name, but like you guys can change the name. And if Kate changed that and then made another comment, hello, this is, I love your show, Flannel Lover 69, she could comment as Flannel Lover 69, I love the show, but also it would go back and it would change that original comment that she made. This one would also change to
like that.
Yeah, right there. Okay, so that was at 9:20 p.m.
last night.
Put the other one up.
Oh, Pooh Bear.
Oh shit.
Switch between things. You're so difficult.
Anytime, and the way that we know this is because this is not the first day on YouTube. This is just what happens. Okay. I can add it.
There it is.
Okay, right here. Same comment.
It's the exact same comment.
It's the same comment. So Randy, you didn't know that, buddy. You didn't know that. Okay, it's nonsensical that you're so stupid that you don't realize this. Okay, well, going back to
screenshots are a booger.
I know they suck. It sucks. Yeah, that's why we have her here. Best producer going. So he says. Additionally, during a recent episode of his show, he appeared to interact with a fake Facebook account, Randy Howard 89, impersonating me. This is why Randy is so stupid. It was not a Facebook account. It was a YouTube account. It was not Facebook. It was YouTube. There's a difference. I have never interacted with a Facebook account, Randy89. I have always interacted with YouTube, Randy89, when he's been on Randy Howard 89. That's what that is. Impersonating me and even offered that account airtime. I have offered Randy airtime every time he has been on the show. Okay? All relevant screenshots, timestamps, recording, and instances of unauthorized use or modification of my copyrighted images have been preserved. Okay. It's too stupid to even talk about, so I'm just not even... Okay, Randy, preserve away. Okay? This matter has been referred to legal counsel to determine whether further action is appropriate. Yeah, it's appropriate, but not from your part to mine. It's the opposite reverse. It's from me to you. Let me sing that Beatles song to you, Randy. From me to you. Okay? Like you are a nut job. You're making yourself look crazy, dude. Okay, most importantly, I want the public to understand. The individual posting offensive remarks under the name Randy Howard 89 is not me. Remember that. We'll come back to it. I remain focused on issues that matter to this community and will not be distracted by online theatrics. Everything Randy Howard does is online theatrics. Everything Randy does is an online theatrical game. That's all that he's focused on. Randy doesn't know what real issues are at hand. So here is what my promise is to Mr. Howard. Unlike you, sir, unlike you, I mean, anybody can pick up the phone and contact an attorney. And that attorney can say, well, yeah, if you give me $300, I'll do it. Doesn't mean they're going to win. Doesn't mean they're going to give you good advice. But you don't have legal counsel. You might have an attorney that you hire or whatever. You know, I don't know who you used to sue Henry County or what the deal was there. I don't know what the situation was there. But if that attorney is worth their salt at all, they will tell you that what the game that you're playing here is a very legally treacherous game for you to play. But unlike Randy Coward right here, unlike Randy Coward, the political spotlight does have political counsel. Or, well, that too. I am the political counsel, legal counsel, rather. And we will give all of this over, and it's very easy to send a subpoena to YouTube. And it doesn't matter if you go in and you delete your Google account in which you made the Randy Howard 89. You can delete every bit of that. You can delete Jerry Jones. You can delete any, you can make new names. You can delete new names. You can do whatever you want to do. Okay? You can do whatever you want to do. But that info still remains. And in that subpoena, they can clearly tell an IP address that links back to the Google account. And listen, I am, as sure as I'm sitting here, willing to bet and willing to tell you that Randy Howard 89, that would be hilarious. Randy Howard 89 and Jerry Jones or Jenny Jones or whoever that was is all the same person. We know it's the same person. There's no clear, we don't even need a subpoena for that. We don't need a subpoena for that. But what the subpoena will show is that Randy Howard, Henry County candidate for sheriff, created the YouTube username Randy Howard 89, and that at some point after last night, he changed that username over to the other name, the Jerry Jones character. And that will be easy to prove, and it will just be another step to showing you to be a loser, to be a liar, to be a swindler. This is not the actions of a stable individual. This makes you look like a swindler. And be very careful. I want to be very careful with everybody. This is not John Sproles. This is Randy Howard. Randy Howard, as Randy Howard 89, has said things that's been in comments between Randy and I only. It's not John Sproles. It is absolutely 1000% Randy Howard. And Randy could write a book, How to Lose an Election Before the Primary. Yeah, right. I'm just telling you this. I'm not going to talk about any more of this nonsense. I'm not going to focus on any more Randy Howard ignorance about trying to prove he's not Randy Howard, or he is Randy Howard, or he is Jenny Jones, or he's not Jenny Jones. I'm going to allow my attorney to handle this. I will focus on Randy anytime that it is relevant to the election. And anytime I feel like making a satirical cartoon of that dumbass doing dumbassery, I will do it. Anytime I treat or feel like treating him like a joke, I'll do it. And Randy's only recourse is to leave the race. Go back to being a private person. Go back to being Randy Howard in the fog, and you'll never hear me utter your name again. Never, ever an issue. But here's what I will not abide by, and I will not play games with, and I promise you, and this is the whole reason you've done all this stupid shit, because I scared you shitless last night. I will not abide by you coming in here and treating people that you don't know a damn thing about rudely. I will not abide by you acting like just the world's biggest asshole and coming in here and defaming my character, slandering me, committing libel. Okay, I will not abide by that. And then when I back you down, I will not abide by you threatening me and acting like you're going to somehow sue me. That is not going to stand. You didn't disengage from here, okay? You got spanked and sent home like the little 13-year-old girl you are. And that's the end of it. People in the comments can have all the fun with Randy they want. They can call him names. They can make fun of him. I'm done with the nonsense. I will treat Randy like every other candidate, but lesser than, and I'll poke at him as a candidate. But all of this stuff is now water under my bridge. I'm handling it over to the attorney. When something is proven, or if or when we decide to carry something further, we'll do it, and I will inform you all of that. But as far as the nonsense, I'm not going to let Randy. The biggest thing would be is if Randy's working for John Sproles. Now, that would be hilarious. That he's out here causing all of this chaos and disinformation, so Sproles is able to try to win. That would be hilarious. So that's what's going to happen here. It's laughable. It's funny to me because there are these people that are then under the comments saying, sue him. That's disgusting. I wonder who came up with that idea. Who knows? Know that it's not who you correspond, react, or behave. Bring it forth. It's very important, as there have been those who would truly believe it and would want to spread such filth and lies. Typical losers trying to distort a good character. Yesterday, he took my photo of me standing at a podium at the State House and put a potato on my head. And put the inscription on the podium saying, Randy Coward, candidate for sheriff of Henry County. Horrible, weak, jealous, probably being paid by someone.
It wasn't even that photo. It was a cartoon.
Yeah, right.
Of a random dude in a suit with a potato head.
Yeah, right. Right. That's right. That's right. And I love this. These people are claiming that John Sproles is paying me. What's really funny is it's going to be John Sproles. At the end of all of this, it'll be John Sproles and I working together. It'll be Sproles and I working together. William Nuts. Bill Nuts. I would like that name. I wish my name was Bill Nuts. Bill Nuts. Acquire legal avenues. Serve this immature individual. During discovery, affiliates will be brought to light. It is being considered. Does anybody know Bill Nuts? Is Bill Nuts a real individual, or is that just a Randy Howard fake account? Let's go look. William Nuts. Okay, Hey, Kate, can you take that down real quick? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mr. Nuts here. Mr. Nuts, who doesn't have a cover photo. Mr. Nuts has a picture of the great seal of the state of California, showing this black man with, I forget what her name is. Madeline, whatever, congresswoman. Senator, maybe. And then he lives in Dayton, Ohio. He's from Dayton, Ohio, and he's in a domestic partnership. And he's got corn on the cob. And this is it. This is basically it. So that's a fake account. Maxine Waters. Yeah, I knew it. Yeah. So this is William Nuts is not real. All right. Yeah, right. Oh God. Coward is the all-star contributor to his page. Yeah, how many accounts does he have on there? Just doing his own thing. It was created September 8th of oh no. That was when that picture was. Let me see. No, it was created September 8th of 2021. September 8th of 2021, 4 years, 5 months ago. But I've got a troll account that I don't ever post from. I just used to look things up when people block me. That's I've had for a long time. Okay, moving on. Let's see here. Tracy, whatever says, "Oh gosh, Randy, I'm sorry this is happening to you. I hope it gets resolved quickly. Thanks for letting us know." And then this is really hilarious to me. Mark Senor, again, I don't think left the house in years, has said, "Did he even check to see if that user was really you? People amaze me. Good for you, setting the record straight." And then this is what he says. This is why it's not okay what he's doing. "I strongly suspect that he may have created or had one of his cronies create the fake account to give them a tool as an attempt to slander. Fake and deliberately staged."
Are you sure Randy isn't your aunt?
Isn't what?
Are you sure Randy isn't your aunt?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who this person is. This is really, 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 really crazy. Oh, sorry. It was a year after that last driving while suspended. No valid license, charged in a line of 3 or 4. Yeah, that's the reason that he wouldn't park in the parking lot. It is what it is. Brenda says, "People should never impersonate others to destroy their campaign or life. I appreciate knowing the truth. Not that I believe much on social media, as there are so many that hack people's accounts. I hope whomever is doing this to you is caught. Prayers." I think Mark is his campaign manager. I think they're like in a club of 2 or 3 of them themselves. It's look. I feel sorry for whoever is real on this commenting. I don't know. Lana Mason maybe seems real. I don't know who she is. I don't know who any of these people are. But if there are people that really tune in to Randy, here's the kind of person Randy is. Let me tell you the kind of person Randy is. And this is just, I don't know this. I don't know anybody. This is totally in my mind, the impression that he gives me. This is an assumption, an opinion. He's the kind of individual that walks into a restaurant to eat food, and the 20-something waitress walks up and says, "How you doing today, hun? You ready for a drink? You need a second to look over the menu?" And he's like, "Yes, yeah." And he's like, I'll take a Diet Dr. Pepper." And she brings him over the Diet Dr. Pepper. And she's like, "You ready to order, hun?" Because that's what she says to everybody. And Randy says, "Well, yes, I am, ma'am." And he's like, I'll have the tuna salad and some baked potato. And she goes away. And then he tips her like a $20 bill because she called him hun twice. And then now he's going to go in there and eat every day after that because like they're friends. Just that kind of person. Y'all know who I'm talking about, what I'm talking about. That's Randy in my mind. And so that person probably thinks he's a nice guy because all she knows of him is that he comes in and he tips me $20. I wonder why that's happening. anyways, Randy is not smart enough to like manipulate a lot of people. He just can pull the veil down a little bit for people that he barely interacts with. If anybody interacts with him any length of time at all, you know who you're dealing with and what you're dealing with. So there are people out there that probably buy into like the nice guy routine. That's the thing that I just can't abide by. I don't like when injustice happens and it's just left unchecked. I just can't deal with that. So it's this that really made me decide to comment. When Randy says, I strongly suspect that he may have created or had one of his cronies create the fake account to give them a tool as an attempt to slander, fake and deliberately staged. Well, Randy, sir, I'm going to show you what fake and deliberately staged looks like. You're going to get a real up close and personal view of what that is. Now, I'm telling you, and I'm going to tell you again, this can and will all go away. That's also a great comment. This will all go away, and I won't mess with this if Randy wants to do one of two things. Randy, we're not related to this, but I'd like to send you something after this live. See if you are aware. Yeah. You can send it to me, and no one will. I mean, other than what you said there, whatever it was, I'll keep you quiet or on the down low if you don't want people to know what it is. But yeah, send it to me. Send it away. You're free to do so. You can send it to me on Facebook. I don't know if you, I can't accept any more Facebook friend requests because I've reached the limit, but you can send it to me at Kristopher H. Bilbrey. You can send it there on Messenger. You can also send it to the page there. Or you can email it to me, or you can text me. Either one. You can do any of that you want. Any way that you want to do that. But getting back to what I was saying, we're wrapping up right now. Look, this was just as long as a regular show. Look, it's just how it goes. Randy can take all that nonsense down. He can delete all that bullshit, and he can just move on with his life. We'll poke at him when we need to poke at him as a candidate, but I'm done screwing with him after this night. I'm not screwing with him in all this nonsense. I'll let my legal team help it, and we'll deal with that. Okay? He's free to take all that stuff down if he so chooses, and we'll say that he learned and he figured it out. But you don't get a chance. You don't get to go smashing windows and then pointing to the homeowner and say, well, he did it. That doesn't work here because I'm going to teach you a lesson with that legally. So take all that shit down, be done with it, and we'll move on. But that's that. Now, what's funny to me, and what I told Kate, and I was going to hold on longer, but I just don't like it, we'll say, one of the funny things is, so if somebody just happened to make this up and they're really trying to hurt Randy, Randy Howard 89 would have been the first person commenting in here tonight. He would have been in here doing the same he always does. Hey, you bunch of losers. You smells like winter dog poo, whatever the hell that is. Yeah, you idiots. He would have been right in here acting the same, because if it wasn't Randy, Randy's statement wouldn't have meant anything to him. Now, before the show started, I called and I said something to Kate. Can you pop up here real quick? What did I tell you in that phone call I made to you before the show?
That Randy Howard would not be commenting tonight, and he would not comment ever again after.
Randy Howard, we'll never see Randy Howard 89 again, because now he can't come in here and comment as that. And what's funny is now I got him by the balls, because if he doesn't come back in here and comment, it proves me basically right. And now if he's like, well, I'll show him because of what I'm saying now. Now, if he does come back in here, it'll just give us more when we send a subpoena for Randy 89. So he's like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
He's commented 3 times tonight.
And he has, but he did it under a different name.
He did it under a different name, and the comments are a complete 180 from the way he'd commented before.
Right. Isn't that funny?
Trying to prove that that's not Randy Howard.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
It looks bad.
Yeah. So that's exactly that again just proves that's very unstable. I mean, I just think that's so weird. Just so strange. So absolutely, Stumblefoot, you know it, brother. I'm not messing around with that. I'm not. That's crazy because look, you never know, Randy. If something stupid could happen, and Randy could become the sheriff of Henry County down there. Now, that's not going to happen, but it is what it is. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are free to do what you need to do in the comments. I'm not paying him any more mind. It is what it is. Yeah, Kate, I saw that. Yes, that's happened. Maybe the other people at the other tables too. That's hilarious. Very strange, very, very strange situation with Randy. So I just wanted to comment directly because of his statement. Randy's statement is not something that's like, you don't get to act an absolute fool and then try and turn it around on other people. That's just not going to be allowed. Period. I get it. Randy's just another Randy to me. I love it. So that's it, folks. Thank you for tuning in and listening. I appreciate it. We will see you back here tomorrow with a regular show. I think it should be episode 611. So you guys take care. Good night. God bless each and every one of you. And Randy, you heard what I said. All you got to do, bro, is just remove that shit and move on with your life and quit doing dumb shit. And always remember, the cover-up is always worse than the crime, dude. It's always... What kind of odds are you giving about not talking? Listen, I'm going to talk about him as a candidate. I'm just not talking about this nonsense. We're not going to get into the, is it Randy? Is it not Randy? We'll know every time he comments. And we'll be able to tell what he does and whatever. So he just needs to go away. If he's going to go away, if he's going to disengage, then he needs to disengage. Because I'm certainly not playing with him. I will talk about him as a candidate as it relates to, dumb stuff he says or does. But just the whole talking about him coming on or whatever. Like, I'll give him another shot when and if we talk to everybody else. But I'm done playing with him in the comments and whatever. That's nonsense. I like it. He says, I'm going to focus on the serious issues. I don't engage in social media drama. That's all Randy Howard is. That's all he is. And I have this finger to prove it. All right, you guys take care. God bless. Good night and goodbye.